Okay, last time we really worked with the CSS. We also worked with the links, getting the look of the buttons, sidebar, adjusting the fonts, the text, and all the CSS. Now we're going to try to pull the look of this together. It's not too bad, it's getting there, but I still want to do some adjustments. We're also going to see how to download some images that we can put in the background. And I'm on Google. A good place to find some background text images or texture images would be a texture generator called bg.siteorigin.com. There's several other texture generators or gradient generators that you can find out there, but this is a pretty good one. And I'm going to stick with sort of a violet gray color for some of these, a little darker. There's a subtle fabric texture there now, but there's a whole bunch of other ones you can select down here. You can scroll down, all kinds of different textures. It's more like a sweater, argyle sweater. You can do different modes to see how they look, and I can also raise that pattern intensity so it pops out a little more. You can invert the pattern so sort of the shadows change a little bit, make it 2 times larger. So there's several different options you can have here, and change the color again if you'd like up here, a little darker. And not quite so intense. Good. If I like that one, then I'm ready to download. Download background image. Should go to your downloads. Now the only issue is it used to come out clear, ready to use, but looks like they're trying to put sort of a pass on unless you donate some money to them. If you delete that single quote and that ending quote there, are you sure you want to change it? Yes. Use just .png and then it accesses that image for you. Then you can right click and save it to your site folder. And then you can go back and create several more. Make as many as you want. And I'm going to show you how to use these. Click it into my movies site folder. In the images folder. And then you should change the name. You should always change the names of the images to something you recognize. Also help the Google find your website. Or names that'll remind you what to do with them. This is going to be like my background. Whatever you want to name it. Alright, so now I can add some of those textures. I have several more there that I've gotten already. And I can add those to some of these different sections. Let's go to my header. You can do this from the code side or the live view. I'm working for the live view right now. Header, CSS designer, current, hashtag header ID. For this I'll go to the background. Right now it's a background color. I could add a background gradient, but I'm going to add a background image. URL, search, and it goes right to my images folder. And maybe that back dark color. Actually, I'm going to use a lighter one for the header. I think I like this one here. And okay, there we go. Pretty nice. Gives a little subtle texture. It looks real. And let's go to the body, background. It has a background color. I'm going to find a background image which will override that color. I think I'll go with that back dark color that we just made. Now let me go to the nav bar. Background. I'm not going to put an image in there, but I don't want to color either for now. Let me delete that. What happens if I make it clear, translucent, transparent, I can see the body background. So that's sort of a cool effect. Let's go to the sidebar, or the aside. Let's find a background image for that one. It could be the same as this, could be slightly different. Let's try this background honeycomb effect. Sort of like that, but it seems like it might be a little too busy. Then come back here. I think that diamond one will be nice again. Good. Now for the main section, background color. Let's go to the background image. Now, for that, I would either want something really dark and simple or really light and simple. I don't want to distract or detract from that text. So let me try this black purple haze, how that looks. I mean, a little much. Might be a little much, a little too fancy. Black purple wood. That's sort of cool. That's sort of nice. I like that. I may change it later, but let's try that for now. If I'm going to stick with that color, then obviously I'm going to have to change that main paragraph color, paragraph text color, text, and make it like a white. So your backgrounds, if there's a lot of text in there, should be really dark or really light. And let me go to that H3 and change that one. So that pops out. No, I really like pink. Maybe I'll stick with some of that pink, see how that looks. That's sort of funky, sort of fun. Good, not too bad, not too bad. Now this green seems to be a little too much on these buttons. So let's go to that navbar A rule. I'm doing a lot of changes just to show you. You don't have to follow along, do all these. You can just sort of observe at this point. For my background, I can do the color, or remember, I also have my gradient. I can do a gradient. If I want to grab some of the colors from out here, put a nice gradient on there. Oh, those are pretty cool when I hover over those. Pretty funky. Nice. Next, this green seems a little too much. Now I'm going to show you a couple other things about text here and almost anything with CSS. Here's my Monsterflix header H1 rule. I can change the font if I want. I'm not going to for now. I'm going to add a background. Yes, you can put a background to text just like we did with these buttons. Background color, or I can even put a background image in there. That might be neat. And I think maybe I'll go for, we have this pink here. It's sort of fun. Maybe this, I like this honeycomb one for some reason. It's pretty cool. To make that bigger, come over here, still in that header H1, and add some padding. And padding on the bottom. I like that. Not too bad. Now, that's to that background of that H1, I can add, if I click on the background, I can add a box shadow. Box shadow. Increase that side. This side. Sort of that weird green. And I'm going to make that just a nice dark. Nice dark black. A little strong, so I'm going to blur that out a little bit. There we go. Makes it a little more subtle, so it feels like almost like a 3D object popping up there. And what else could I do? Well, I could put a little more margin. We could use the margin not just on text, but I could also put margin between some of these different sections. So if I'm a header, on the header rule, layout, I could scroll down. I could put a margin on the top, slide it down from the top there, and a margin on the bottom. Sort of nice. Nav bar rule, same thing if I want. Just kidding, you don't have to do any of these, I'm just showing you some different options. So I'm just going to do a little margin on the bottom, give that guy a little space. Let's go to this main content area here. Main. Now I could put a margin on that, top or bottom. But if I put a margin between, I don't have a fixed layout. If I put it between them, I'm going to have to take some of the width away. So I'm on my main layout. I'm going to put a margin on the left about 10. Well, right now there's enough room for it, so it's knocking that guy out of the way. So whatever I add here, I'm going to have to take away from the width. So from 874 to 864. There we are. Brings it back up here with that margin. I can make that margin a little bigger, but it's not bad for now. Actually, I'll make it a little bit bigger. We'll go down to 850 for the width and 854 for the width, which means I can add 10 more pixels to that margin, so it makes that 20. This a little better. Grab that main rule again. I can go to my background and do a box shadow. Scroll down, box shadow. And when I scroll down here, I should be able to see that. Let's go back. Let's go down to that footer. Layout. I need a little margin on top. I can add a shadow of that if I want. Save for a while, save all. This message just come up here I can ignore. File, real-time preview. Let's preview this in Google Chrome. Okay. There we are. So it's quite a bit different just in a few minutes here, just by adding some of those pre-made background textures that repeat over and over. It's one small image that repeats over and over and makes it pretty light on the memory. Okay. Monster Flicks, I may have to lighten that up a little. Everything else is looking pretty cool though. I think it's looking pretty nice. Now, cool thing about this, if I can wake up tomorrow and not like any of these colors or patterns, I can change them, go back in and change them in a matter of minutes. Alright, let me just change this text here. This will be the last thing. The H1 header text. I just want to make it a little bit brighter, I think a little bit brighter so it really pops out. Nice. A little bit darker. Why not a hot pink? See how that works. Not too bad. And I could center that header. All kinds of changes. I'll leave it the way it is right now. File, save all. The last thing we're going to do is select this main section here. Go to the code view. Make sure that main is selected. Just the main section is selected. We're going to insert a template. Make editable region. Editable region. This is going to make my template editable, so I can anything that's in the content or that main area can be changed on my other pages when I create those. All the other pages will be locked and can only be changed through the template page. Editable region. So I'm inserting an editable region. It's called Edit Region 3. That's fine. And File. Save all. Now, once in a while, Dreamweaver may shut down and crash when you do this for some reason in some of the updates, but I think it should be alright. Let's double check. Let's go back to the code view. And now if I come down here to my main section, it is now within the editable region tag, so I can edit that on other pages. So when I make my other pages, nav bar, header, sidebar, and footer will be duplicated. This CSS rules for this will be duplicated, but I can always come in here and change these texts. Okay, save all. In the next video, we'll be ready to make our first page.